Smarterfan. Smarterfan. Yeah. Smarterfan.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another segment of Smarterfan Podcast, where we bring you behind the veil in sports business and life. I'm Joe, and this is Barry. How you doing, Barry?
It's another day at the rodeo. What's going on, Joe? I'm feeling good.
Yeah, just got back from North Kakalaki.
Oh, how was it?
It was nice. It was very relaxing, you know. Just hanging out with the family.
What's the temperature down there?
It was in the 80s.
Nice.
You know,
very nice.
I think we had maybe 2 days of rain, but it was all right.
Yeah, I just heard from a good childhood friend who's down in North Carolina now.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, what do you got on your mind tonight? You kick it off tonight.
You cook it up. You know who I got to kick off tonight. I got two history spotlights for you tonight, Joe.
Okay.
Because you've been beating my tail so badly. Guess who just had an anniversary of one of her records in track and field?
Oh, you he told me about this. Oh, God. See. Oh, man. That's my excuse.
Flo Joe.
Oh, Flo Joe. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she celebrated one of her monumental records recently, and I just had to just talk about her and what a phenomenal athlete, what a phenomenal woman. I mean, you talk about it all: brains, beauty, style, grace, and just running like the wind. I mean, she's truly an athlete before her time. Just phenomenal, and I just had to give her a salute. Her records, many of her records, still stand. Yeah.
She designed the Indiana Pacers uniforms.
Really?
Oh yeah. She was a clothing designer also, and she designed the Pacers uniforms at one time.
Wow. You just couldn't let me get one up on you. You see?
I just can't help
too
myself.
Much. Just couldn't let me get one. But look at this. I got another one. Good thing. Cookie Gilchrist. Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Running back. Only player known to have actually jumped from high school to the NFL.
Wow.
And actually with the Bengals. And Paul Brown signed him.
Okay.
And so we're talking about the 50s. So there was very, very few black people in the NFL at the time.
Yeah.
So the NFL got wind of it, other teams got wind of it, and basically barred him from the league, barred him from going to college, and he ends up going to Canada. And ends up setting all kinds of records up there. The long and short of it is he ends up back in the NFL, has issues with management. You know, we're talking about the 1950s, before Jim Brown, right? But interesting story about Mr. Gilchrist was his father was enslaved. And so his father had a very strong independent streak and planted that seed in his son. And so Cookie was no dummy and understood his value and made demands on his value and often had run-ins with certain coaches and management because he demanded to be paid for his value.
Yeah.
But beyond that, guess what else he was talking about? Back in his day, CTE.
Yes. Okay.
He was talking about CTE. and players and retirement and getting the money right. He's a really fascinating guy.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
sounds
man,
it.
he was talking about this back then and understanding his value and being paid. And do you know actually how the New Orleans Saints got a team in New Orleans? Would you like to hear
Mm.
that story?
Yes, I would.
Well, they had an all-star game. The AFL and the NFL had an all-star game,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted to bring it to New Orleans to get a team. But at that time, the racism was on fire.
Oh
So the
yeah.
all-star players were getting harassed by police and da 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 da. And of course, who's in the middle of it? Cookie Gilchrist. And it,
Mm-hmm.
and it forced the NFL owners to say, hey, if we want a team down here in New Orleans, y'all gonna have to clean up this racist stuff. Because
Mm-hmm.
it ain't gonna happen. So it was a fascinating documentary. His life,
Wow.
his history, what he did on and off the field, fighting with management for fairness, fighting. I mean, I think one of the coaches threw him off the team. The team rallied to tell the coach, you can't throw him off the team because we won't win. And he ended up winning the MVP.
Hey, hey.
Fascinating guy. Cookie Gilchrist. May that
Yeah.
man's memory. And he finally, because I think he played a number of years. So he's in the Canadian Hall of Fame, but I think he said, I don't want to be in there. And then
Hmm.
I think he's in the Buffalo Bills Ring of Honor.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
this guy is amazing. So I had to dig deeper, always with you, because you always got that history hook, But I think I may have edged out a half a point tonight, dealing with you already. But yeah, my friend, Cookie Gilchrist. So that's
Yeah.
what I got. I'm gonna kick it off with history today. What you got going on over there?
Well, I was going to stay along that line because a while back, briefly, we talked about Marcus Allen's younger brother, Damon,
Yeah.
and you piqued my curiosity, so I
Okay.
did a little digging myself, and turns out in high school he was a two-sport player. He
Okay.
excelled in baseball and football. He was he had a 20 he had a 22-2 record as a starting football quarterback for his high school team, the Lincoln High School in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a 14-2 record as a pitcher for the high school team.
Okay.
So, and he was named athlete of the year in his senior year in high school. Then he went on to college. He went to Cal State University in Fullerton,
Mm-hmm.
and he led the Titans to two Pacific Coast Athletic Association championships.
Nice.
And he also broke a 26-year-old NCAA record, throwing only 3 interceptions in over 300 attempts.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy was something. He was a first-team PCAA quarterback and was named the UPI All West Coast Team quarterback, along with UNLV's Randall Cunningham.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he was 16th overall in the voting for the Heisman Trophy.
Hmm.
And he also helped his Titans baseball team win the 1984 College World Series.
Wow.
He led his team to a regular season record of 66-20.
Hmm.
And as a pitcher, and he was drafted by the Detroit Tigers in '84, but he never signed with them. And so he in '85 he joined the CFL as a free agent, and he won 4 Grey Cups with 3 teams.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 with the Edmonton Eskimos, 1 with the BC Lions, and 1 with the Toronto Argonauts. He was 4th in all-time professional in pro football passing yards, and he was pro football's all-time leading passer with 72,381 passing yards, surpassing Warren Moon, you know. And he was considered the GOAT north of the border. And if you think about it, his career kind of paralleled Brady's in the sense that they both won multiple championships.
Mm-hmm.
And he's played for 23 seasons.
Oh, wow.
I think Brady's was 20 plus or 20 around there.
Mm-hmm.
I think he retired at 44. I think Brady was 45 when he retired.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And he became the second oldest MVP of any North American franchise. The only one older than him was Gordie Howe of the Houston Aeros when he put WA. So, he retired in 2008, and when he retired, he was only 323 rushing yards behind his brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, so that's my little tidbit on Damon Allen, but very interesting.
Fascinating. I felt very ashamed when I saw the article. All these years being a Marcus fan and never knew he had a younger brother.
Right. Yeah.
It really bothered me, but I'm glad I got to share it with you.
Yeah, definitely. Very interesting story.
Yeah.
This guy, he was doing it all up there.
Yeah, he's making it happen. Which leads me into who I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Prime.
Uh-huh.
Get on time with Coach Prime. So I am almost getting in conversations every day about Coach Prime.
Mm.
So the latest conversation was why all the hate? So I said, I really don't want to talk about it. So who wanted to talk to me about it? Haters gonna hate.
Yeah.
I gonna hate. And I said, the person said, well, why you don't want to talk about it, Barry? Because I said it doesn't make any sense to me. Why all these people hating on a coach whose previous team went 1-11?
Mm-hmm.
He's putting money in your pocket because you ain't I'm not watching any of those games. TCU, Colorado State. I ain't watching none of them games. Oregon. I ain't watching none of those games if it wasn't for Coach Prime.
Yeah.
So he's selling out. So, the hate is what I always call the LSS formula. And I told this person, I said, these coaches are many of them, not all of them, many of them are being shown up for what they're not doing for the student athlete. That's what they're really mad about. What do you mean by that? I said, because you're seeing a coach who's holding you to a standard, expecting you to perform and saying, guess what? You deserve to be compensated for the work you put in.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of these coaches are leveraging these young people to increase their salary, increase their profile, get their next job on the backs of these kids. And that's what a lot of what's being, when they say, well, this is a new era of football. No, that's what they're really talking about. As someone who's played and understands what really goes on. And I've had friends play Division III, Division II, Division I, big time football. I've had, friends all over the place. I've had friends who played in the NBA, friends who played in Major League Baseball. So, I'm not talking about what I think. I'm talking about what I know.
Mm-hmm.
As I shared with that person, and I said, yeah, that's what's really going on. Many of these coaches realize the way they've been coaching and how they've been treating their athletes. If they don't change, there's going to be a problem. And the other thing, the pressure that's on them, that Deion's putting on them is, man, this is I'm paying you what? I'm paying you what to build a program here? We've never had game day. We've never had ESPN. We've
Mhm.
never we've never had these sellout crowds, and I'm paying you what?
And celebrities showing up.
He got celebrities showing up. I said, so the numbers people, the boosters of these other schools are starting to look at these coaches going, well, are you really worth the money? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then the players are saying, because they're starting, many of these coaches are starting to say and do things pre-game, post-game because of what Prime is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got many of your athletes looking at their coaches side-eyed. Like, you hating, but you copying. You wasn't thinking about looking after us, but now you sort of kind of are. So are you you see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
what is really messing up these coaches is that these kids who realize, nah, I won't be here, can go and leave and get into the portal. So now it's disrupting that iron gate that many of these coaches had on these kids, right? Now they're able to kind of like, oh, it don't have to be like this. It can be better than this. I can get some love. I can get some what? Oh, wow, this is a new day. That's what Dion is showing. That's what they're afraid of. And so the pressure, as Dion always does, he puts the pressure on you, baby. He puts the pressure on you. And so, people are like, well, you know what? People ask you, what do you think is going to happen with USC? I said, I've already rolled my dice, brother. They said, well, what do you mean by that? I said, if those kids can continue to build, there's no reason that they could win the rest of their games.
Yeah, why not?
They could go on a run. They could go on a run. Like you see, like back in the day in the Giants, didn't have a great season, snuck into the playoffs, and got on the road and got on one of those runs. I think they get USC this weekend, and I think that puts them on a roll.
Well, they're already doing two better than they did last year.
Exactly. And I'm telling you, think about that. Think about if you've been in administration at a school paying a coach a couple $1 million a year, and they had, Oregon didn't win no national championship, and you knew who did them 49-3 last year? Georgia. Georgia put 49 on them. They scored 3.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They haven't ever won a national championship. They made a run in 2010 and 2014. That's it. So all this bragging and braggadocious coming from that program is like, you may want to back up. But anyway, Prime is putting the pressure on them. I love what Prime is doing, and it's only going to get hotter for the rest of them because it's a new day. It's a new day. And the last piece, I'm going to give you part A. I'll do part B next week. They still need to get up off the rest of that money and compensate the rest of those kids that don't get NIL money because they're playing too. They're competing too. They're contributing too. And they should get a piece of the pie. But that's part A. Part B next week. Go ahead, buddy. What you got?
Okay, I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about the WNBA because the playoffs have been going along quietly. Okay, yeah. First of all, I got to congratulate Breanna Stewart. She got the league MVP.
Oh,
okay. She played a record 6 games with at least 40 points.
Wow.
Yeah, the girl can ball. Okay, and so the Aces, the Dallas Wings, and the Liberty, they swept through the first round of the best of 3, and while Connecticut, the Sun took 3 games to dispatch of the Minnesota Lynx. But that set the stage for the Sun and the Liberty in the semis, which they're playing now. And the Liberty haven't advanced this is the first time they're advancing to the semis since 2015. So, and they, with their win over the Washington Mystics, led by Brianna and her 27 points. Meanwhile, Asia Wilson, who I thought was going to get the MVP, she torched the Chicago Sky with 38 points and 16 rebounds.
Mm.
And she was named Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and the Sun drew first blood with a 78-63 win over the Liberty, while the Aces beat Dallas 97-83. So both teams were winning by double digits.
Wow.
I mean, the Aces are no joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And attendance, this year, the WNBA had its most watched regular season in 21 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and the 2023 WNBA season, they dedicated to women's health advocacy throughout the season, and the teams, players, and the league highlighted the 4 key pillars of women's health: maternal health, mental health, reproductive health, and cancer awareness education. So they're doing their part, and they put up $200,000 for each of these health organizations, women's health organizations, and some of the standouts on the court were, Alyssa Thomas. She posted a record 6 triple doubles and broke the single season record for total assists with 316. I mean, these girls are playing.
Yeah, they're balling. They're balling. They better, because LSU's coming.
Yeah.
LSU in college basketball, they better. If they want to get that money, that's what it's going to take to get that money. That's how this game is played. You put on a good product, people will pay, advertisers will pay, and that's how it happens. That's how it happens.
Well, that's why viewership and attendance is up. Viewership and attendance is up. And Jewel Lloyd, she set a single season record with 939 points scored.
Buckets.
Yeah. And the Mercury's Diana Taurasi became the first player to score 10,000 career points. And, the Aces, Asia Wilson, she became the fastest player to reach 3,500 points, 1,500 rebounds, and 300 blocked shots. Now, I think this girl, I think she could play with the men. I think she could hang with the men.
She look about 6'8", too. She look about 6'8". Yeah, she don't look frail either. That's going to be interesting. I think at some point it's going to happen. It's happened, but it hasn't fully happened where they've drafted a female to the NBA back in the 60s, I think, or 70s, but she decided not to play. But I think it's going to happen because some of these girls is the truth.
Oh yeah,
they are the truth.
Yeah, well, they're proving it this year. That's for sure.
They are the truth. They're getting it.
And but there's so much going on that this is just like happening very quietly, because you got football starting up, and you got all these big stories with football and baseball. The race is coming down to the wire in baseball.
Yeah.
And hockey's going to be starting up in 2 weeks. So these women are just doing this quietly, but doing it efficiently, I might add.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a sports soup bowl. They overlap, and they overlap on purpose to keep the money flowing, to keep the attention going, and then you're going to have to deal with the collegiate game that's going to come online. And you're still dealing with college football. So it's a real smorgasbord, my friend, of sports. And, you throw in the prime effect. I mean, who's hogging up so much of the airways, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I sit there and I listen to people talking and I'm like, I just listen. And I'm going, you haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah.
You
It's
think you got a
coming.
problem now? I said, you haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah. Well, they're coming.
They're
They're coming.
Matter of fact, they're here.
Uh,
They're here.
so
I
that was,
mean,
yeah.
he secured what he could. This is we're joking about here. We come in and I ain't hard to find. But today I got a news feed that he has patented 9 of these phrases because it's entering into the lexicon. It's entering into the lexicon. I'm him, right? They showed somebody. I was watching a clip today, and these kids were like, when we grew up, we're playing, backyard, football, and this kid was making moves, and so somebody was recording it, and the kid looked at the camera and said, "I'm him, I'm him." You know what I mean? Yeah. So just like I said, oh, here we go. So yeah. So it's exciting. It's exciting, and you're gonna see a watershed moment where you're gonna have, these lazy, these selfish coaches who ain't looking after their players. Either they're gonna get it together or they out.
Yeah,
it's a new day. I just keep looking at people and I say it's a new day. Well, it's a new day. It's long overdue, and you know how I feel about the NCAA. If they don't do half of what they should be doing for these student athletes. So the ground is shifting.
Yes, it is.
The ground is shifting. So what else you got? You wrapping up tonight? Or am I wrapping up? You wrap up. Because you just got back from North Carolina. So you wrap up.
Well, on a sad note, today baseball lost one of its iconic players in Brooks Robinson.
I saw that. I saw that.
86 years young. The man was a human vacuum cleaner, as they used to call him. And I'm glad I had the privilege of watching him play. And I told him so when I met him in Cooperstown.
You did?
Yes, I met him in Cooperstown.
You beat me again tonight. You beat me again tonight again.
And I told him, I said, you were the best that I've ever seen. And he said, well, thank you very much. He was very classy and very gracious.
Wow.
So that's, it's sad, but he passed away today. So, and that's all I have to say about that. But God rest his soul.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's sad, but it's also a testament to him and who he was and the class and, just a very, very special person.
Yes.
And so even though it's sad, it's, he's still just one of the immortals, I call them.
Yes.
One of the immortals. But as we say on Smarterfan podcast, we're going to take you behind the veil. We're going to talk about things and share things and give you a perspective that no one else will give you. And that's what makes Smarterfan podcast such a special experience. See you next week.
All right.
Smarterfan.